Shifting our schools happens with small, significant steps forward. This week, Jeff Utic is back to tour us through a way to keep taking those steps with another free Shifting Schools resource. Before you listen, we want to remind you that this episode has a ready-to-use meeting map, so you can use this episode with your team. Be sure to find the link in our show notes. Okay, educators, ready to dig in, unlearn, and prepare to spark the next shift at your school? Then let's kick off this episode.
Well, welcome back to another episode of Shifting Our Schools. I'm your host, Jeff Utic. I hope this episode finds you safe and healthy. If you've been listening to any of our episodes this year, you've heard me say plenty of times that the free guides we discuss on the program are created out of the requests we receive from our podcast listeners, newsletter subscribers, or workshop participants. So I thought I would start this episode with a message we received that sparked our latest free guide, Crafting the Story of Our Learning. Here's the email. Dear Shifting Schools team, I'm a principal and every year we do the usual end of the year reflection. While I want to make sure we do this year, I have to acknowledge that this year wasn't like most years. My staff has grown and been tested in ways I can't even count. I really want them to feel inspired to reflect on that because I know this growth is going to change the trajectory of what we are as a school. I need the reflection to feel special, to feel inspired, and to feel relevant. If you have any structures or guides that could help me out with this, I'd really appreciate it. Thank you for considering, and thank you for sharing your work so freely. Before I move on to discuss the free guide we crafted for this principle, let me remind you, you can send my team your requests through email at info@shiftingschools.com or through social media. Find us on Twitter at Shifting Schools, or you can fill out the contact form on the website shiftingschools.com. I think we can all agree with the tone of this email I just read out. Teachers have grown and been tested in countless ways, and it is immensely important to document that, to make space and time to acknowledge it. And at the same time, we have to acknowledge that artful, structured reflection can honor our growth. If we ask one another, hey, what did you learn this year? That's not focused. To be blunt about it, it's lazy. We've learned so much this year, so many things. So our questions to get to that learning should be specific and intentional. If you are a school leader who plans to ask your teachers to reflect on this year, or you are a teacher who plans on asking your students to reflect on their year, let's remember this. It's been a hard year. So if you are asking folks to think about it, you better honor the heck out of their time and come to them from a place that dignifies their struggle. So how do you dignify their struggle? Well, three things really. First, you provide them with a well-crafted menu of prompts. This means they have choice, and it means you show you have thought carefully about the intention behind the reflection and the questions you are asking. Second, you give them time to think. If I want a true reflection conversation, I can't spring questions on someone and give them zero processing time. Remember, silence is our thought partner in learning and reflection. Third, you set up an opportunity for folks to share to the audience they want to share with and how they want to share. Some folks would love the opportunity to work on their public speaking or share something publicly. Others may prefer a one-on-one conversation, and others yet might prefer a private journal. We call this the 3 Ps of sharing. First P, private. Only the person sharing sees it. Think of a private journal, a private portfolio, someplace that is private to that person. The next P is shared public, where you are sharing it publicly, but in a safe place. Think staff meeting, your classroom, maybe it's your LMS system with your students, or a one-on-one conversation that you have. All of these places are what we call a shared public space. And then, of course, the third P is public. This could be on a blog or Twitter or Instagram. It could be in a Flipgrid video that maybe you post somewhere on a website, or even a comment on a Facebook post. Public really means public. So our free guide, Crafting the Story of Our Learning, has a big range of prompts. Our menu comes with a header for each prompt, which asks the learner to think about what exactly they want to reflect on before they engage with the prompt. Do they want to reflect on the way their community has supported them, or ways they have adapted, or changes they want to sustain into the future? Our prompts are visual, creative, and some of them even a bit weird. They all seek to pose a question in a unique way. In other words, the prompts have been crafted. I think of questions the same way I do food. A dessert that has been homemade with time and care always tastes better than a dessert that was made in a factory and mass-produced. A question that has been made with a specific time and context in mind also tastes better. I know a lot of school leaders out there want to have meaningful conversations with their staff, and I know a lot of educators always want to have the most relevant, reflective conversations with their students. And I know many of you are also wondering what next year may hold for your community. And here's the thing. Sometimes a well-crafted question is more powerful than an answer. When we communicate that we want to listen deeply to our community, we say more with our curiosity than we could with a speech. So if you want to engage your community and scaffold end-of-the-year conversations, we hope you'll check out our latest free guide, Crafting the Story of Our Learning. As always, our free guides are on the website, shiftingschools.com, under our resource tab. You can also find the link to the library in the show notes of today's episode. And educators, please keep the requests for free guides coming. I can't tell you how honored my team is to support you in supporting your educational community. Until next time, I'll see you on the network.
Thank you for being a part of the #ShiftingSchools community. We love when listeners like you weigh in, so head over to our show notes to find ways to share your thoughts. Have a request for a future episode? Jeff and his team love supporting you with the content you need. Shifting Our Schools podcast is a proud production of the Shifting Schools team. Looking for a longer interactive conversation about the ideas shared in this session? Contact us at info@shiftingschools.com to find out about our workshops.